Hey guys, Nico the Conic here, coming to you with another Infinity Kingdom video. This one is going to be a topic that I think a lot of players are undervaluing. They underestimate this aspect of the game quite a bit. And when it comes to being able to see what others are bringing to the table, they are a little bit able to, but not fully. What I'm talking about here is the specialization. These specializations are not only extremely important for the one that you select and the level of the one that you select, but also for the smaller nodes along the way. What I mean by being able to see is when you look at the report, when you look at your friend's March or anybody March, you're able to see the level at which they are, but you're not able to see which small nodes they maxed out or at which level they currently are for those immortals. And specialization is extremely important. In fact, in my opinion, specialization is one of the two things that brings the true value to an immortal. One of the two stats that truly makes an immortal strong or weak. First one, by the way, is going to be the dust level. And again, second one, specialization. Just to give you just more information on how good and how much of a difference it actually does before we get into each of the specialization, I am going to showcase my Wu here. I removed everything, but she still boosts at level 25. When you look at her, she is maxed out level 8. The smaller nodes are not fully maxed out yet, but the important one, and we're going to come back to them, are going to be maxed out. They are maxed out. Whereas you look at my Merlin, level 25 as well, no artifact, same level, same stars, no skill, no equipment. But here in this case, he's resetted, so he is at 0. None whatsoever. No stats from specialization at all. Just to make sure the differences between two similar. Immortal, you have Merlin at 0 dust, and you have Wu at 0 dust. If you look at Merlin, he is sitting at 32k immortal power. But more importantly, when you look at his attribute, you see that the defense is only at 325. When it comes to physical, the crit 1.2, magical attack 2k, magical defense 1k. If you go to Wu, it's more than double the power of Merlin when it comes to the immortal power, and you look at the attribute 1.3, so almost 1k over, 1k over. Crit 1.6, so 600 over. 3.4 magical, so 1.4k over, and double the magical defense that my Merlin had. This is a lot of stats from the start. And skills, the way they work, a lot of them are based on magical power. The support one are based on physical and magical defense, which boosts your stats here even further and use those stats to deal damage in the case of damage skill. These are extremely important, and the way you are going to be able to boost them, main way is going to be from the specialization tree. As you can see, specialization makes a huge difference. Now, let's go into each one of the immortal type, and we're going to talk about which nodes are important to max for each type. So you will see in almost all the immortals, there are two better specialization. In the case of the tanks, is going to be fearless tanks or sturdy bearer. The fighting spirit is not really something that you want to do. It increases their damage. Tanks are not there to deal damage. Anubis might be the only one that deals a little bit of damage, in my opinion, but still, it shouldn't be used to deal damage. So you have two options: fearless stance and sturdy bearer. I don't personally like sturdy bearer because it's first a trigger skill, which only happens every 6 seconds, and you have 70% chance. So there might be some battle that you don't get as much value as you should with sturdy barrier, whereas fearless stance is base stats. You get that from the moment you enter the battle, you always have it, all the time. Now, the first grind when it comes to specialization is going to be, of course, get level 8 here. Not only because the stats is going to be better, but it allows you to get more smaller nodes, access to more smaller nodes. So first grind for all type of immortal, get them to level 8. 2, this one here is going to be the second grind. For support, so tanks and support, it's going to be called shelter, and it's going to reduce the damage taken, which is extremely good. You want to go for this second for the grind when it comes to your books, your master insight, and your immortal shards. Do not max this out before this is to level 8. Then afterwards, if you look at the other stats, accuracy is not really important for a tank. Dodge is a little bit more important, but because dodge is not all immortal at dodge and accuracy is so high, it's not the most valuable stats. But when you look at the smaller nodes, you're going to have two things that you need to max and one that you can max. First, increase physical and magical defense are going to be essential. You want those at level 5 all the way down, from up to wherever you can reach. Then you can do the dodge value. The dodge value is not going to give you as much value as the first two for sure, but if you have so many marks, go for it. It is still a stat that will sometimes bring value. This is not useful for tanks. 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 If you do max them out, the power of your immortal is going to go up, but it's going to be empty power. It's not really going to matter that much. Again, but if you have so many of these, all have any other tanks, it's up to you. You might as well. I resetted one of the tanks recently, so I have a lot left. Let's go to the support. For me, support is actually extremely important, and the specialization is even more important when it comes to which one you should select. Because if you're pairing your support with a archer or a mage, in my opinion, you need to go with this one here, which is battle expectation. You want this skill. It is extremely good paired alongside a mage or tank. Whereas if you are paired with other support, you need to go Holy Prayer. Holy Prayer is going to be the best option in that case. You don't need to boost the damage. The energy is still decent, but the damage is not needed for the other support. Now, the last one, I don't recommend it. Well, not only is it every 9 seconds, which is higher than 6, it's also a 70%. And all it does is healing. Healing is quite easily cancel the game at the moment, so I would not go with the last one. I'll go with one of the first two, depending on who you're pairing your support with in the backline. Same grind, this to level 8, then you max this one. And then if you look at smaller ones, it's going to be physical, magical, defense. Now here there is a difference because with support you have a nod that is resilience. Resilience is extremely important. I would say almost as important as the physical magical defense, a little bit less, but it's very important still. So the grind will be this. Then after this resilience to 5, then you can do the dodge value afterwards. The dodge value again is less than the resilience. The resilience is a lot more important when it comes to those nods. And I will say overall in the game. Let's go to the mage one. For me, it's going to be a preferences between the first and the second one. Both are really good, really decent. I've been thinking about resetting because of my skills. Corrupting Wave might be better, but I also really like the crit. My Miko crits quite a bit, so I've been keeping this one. It's really a preference when it comes to these two. Same thing for me though. The last one, I don't really like it, although it's dealing damage, which is good. It's every 9 seconds and only a 70% chance, whereas these are straight up stats. Now here the grind is going to be again level 8, and this one here. This one is going to be called Grace for anything that does damage, so Archer, Mage, and Attack Immortal. Very valuable. Once this is maxed, you definitely want to come and max this one afterwards. It makes a big difference. This is going to be +5, and you also have it between level 3 and 4. 3, 4. Here, it's going to, once it's maxed, it's going to give you 10% increased damage, which is extremely good. When it comes to smaller nodes, it's the same as the support with one difference. Physical defense, magical defense, but here you're going to have the magical attack as well. In my opinion, these three are the most important. And then you're going to have the resilience, which is also good. And lastly, you're going to have the crit. The crit is extremely important and would go alongside, I would say, these three as the main stats, depending on who your mage is. My Emiko crits a lot, so I would be maxing crit first and then going resilience. But if it's example, a Cleopatra into a fully Earth team without crit value, I would go for resilience and then crit in that case. Again, it depends on your march, it depends on your setup. If your immortal crits a lot, go for crits first and then resilience. This is it for Mage. Now, for Mage, however, there is also these nods, which are going to be good and important down the line. Again, depends on which one you want to focus first. But the main focus when it comes to nods that use Fragment and Master Insight, it's not going to change. It's going to be this one first, this one second, and for my case, it would be this one third, and then lastly, resilience. These are going to bring a lot of good value, so you definitely want to max them out as much as you can as well. I can't do it at the moment. My Emiko doesn't have any more shards, but this will be a big boost once I can do it as well. I'm gonna go to the Archer. Same thing, first two really good. Last one, I wouldn't go for it. Personally, I don't like 9-second in the chance. Up to you which one you take in the first two. Again, same grind, level 8. This one here. This is going to be the same as the Mage, depending on if you're immortal crits or not. Khan is going to be an immortal crit, so I would go for crit first and then resilience. It's very similar here, but here with Archer, you actually have more smaller nods that will give you value. First, physical attack, physical and magical defense. Don't need this magical attack. Resilience, crit. Again, these two depends on your march, immortal, but then you're gonna add accuracy value as well. To me, and according to me at least, this is the less important when it comes to these smaller nodes. But for Archer, it is still quite valuable down the line. If you have enough Master Might, I would go for it. I would use them for sure to max it out. But again, these three are the most important. 1, 2, 3. Then you do whichever is the best depending on your march. You do the other one, and you finish with accuracy value. Now, last one is going to be the Immortal that are attacks. I'm going to use my Alex as an example. Same thing, first two really good, last one I wouldn't go for it. Again, it's not that they're really bad. To me, it's because of the every 9-second and the chance, given the fact that the first two are straight up stats. Now, if you're an immortal like Alex and Hannibal that relies on solo attack, normal attack, the first one's going to be better. If you're an immortal that relies on crit, like a Fire March Epo, this would be better. Still, both are still going to be decent. Now, if your Alex does not crit at all, you would be losing stats here. So definitely go for the first one in that case. Same grind, level 8, Grace here. Then it's going to be resilience in the attack tree, the accuracy lastly. I could max it out at some point. I'm still thinking about it. It's not empty stat at the very least. It's still good. Accuracy level is quite high as a whole. It's not the most important one, but it's still stats that goes to Alex that would be meaningful. Unlike if you were to max magical attack. This one is going to be the same as the Archer when it comes to smaller nodes. Physical attack, physical magical defense, crit. Again, crit, usually Alex doesn't really crit, so I would go for resilience first in Alex's case, then crit, then accuracy value. These are also going to be interchangeable. If you think that value is going to be more into the accuracy because your Immortal does not crit, then you can finish with crit. I'm using my Alex in my Fire March at the moment, and I have time to shine for crit. He does quite a bit of crit in my case, so I went with the critical. Now, again, these smaller nods are extremely important. You don't want to waste specialization. Example, if you have like me for 40K, these should all be maxed for sure, for sure. Now, this something that I might want to max at some point. But the smaller ones actually bring a lot of value. They're the one that's going to boost your stats as well. Don't skip out on them. They are going to make your immortal so much stronger. If you haven't been using it or you've been leaving them at level 1 just to reach level 8 and then we'll come back to max them, and you have so many master inside, that is a mistake for sure. Go back right away, max the one that are going to give you any PvP value. Your immortal is going to get a boost in effectiveness on the battlefield right away for sure. So this is it for the deeper dive into specialization. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you some insight into the specialization. If you have any question, any feedback, feel free to comment in the YouTube or in game. I always appreciate the feedback. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.